Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another special ranking video. Tonight, I'll be ranking all 7 of the Werewolf films from the Universal Monsters era. Alright, so I'm going to start with number 7. And my number 7 is She-Wolf of London. Now, this film had a lot of potential. You have the young June Lockhart, very talented actress, and one of her early roles. And she's fine in this. She gives a fine performance. But what a disappointment this is, because there is no werewolf or anything like that in this actual story. It is a misleading title just to get people to watch the film. It was much better done, this premise, with the daughter of Dr. Jekyll years later, which I've reviewed on this channel. But yeah, not a very good werewolf film in this series, and that's why it's my number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Now, many of you know that I'm a huge Abbott and Costello fan. However, I do not think it was a good idea to try to merge Abbott and Costello with the Universal Monsters. It just really hurt the Universal Monsters as characters and just made them a joke. Now, the worst in this that suffer the most are Frankenstein's monster and the Wolfman, unfortunately. Dracula doesn't really suffer too bad in this film, but this should have been a big thing. Having Lon Chaney Jr. returning to reprise his role, having Bela Lugosi returning to reprise his role, and then having Glenn Strange reprising his role as the Frankenstein monster, which would have been even better if they would have gotten Boris Karloff to reprise the role of the Frankenstein monster. But wouldn't have worked anyway. I mean, they would have just made Karloff look like an idiot in here, the way that they did poor Glenn Strange in this. It doesn't work when you take a comedy team and they are just making jokes out of these great monster characters. So that's the reason I put this one this low on my list. Alright, so coming in at number 5, we have House of Frankenstein. Now, House of Frankenstein has what should have been a perfect storm. I mean, it had, a hunchback, a mad scientist, played by Boris Karloff of all people, and then you had Dracula, played by John Carradine. Awesome actor, and could have been perfect in that role, which he was good. And then, of course, Lon Chaney, and then you have Glenn Strange once again as the monster. And they screw up with Dracula first. They distance him from the story altogether and kill him off before he has even a chance to interact with any of the other characters, which is just why even have him in there. But this is for the Wolfman character with Lon Chaney Jr., and he is given a fairly good part in this film, although I think another film in this is better for his character. And I'll get to that right now. My number 4 is House of Dracula. Now Dracula is shafted once again in this film, even though the title is House of Dracula. But this is probably one of the better representations for Lon Chaney's Wolfman, because he gets to finally get a cure and be reprieved, even though that was screwed over by Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein by them giving him the werewolf affliction once again in that. But most people don't accept that as a direct follow-up to House of Dracula. But I thought his storyline in this was better even than it was in House of Frankenstein. And Lon Chaney, even though, you know, he is playing in cheaper films, he never, ever looked like he was just collecting a paycheck, reprising his role as Larry Talbot. He looked like he was consistently trying to maintain what he established with that character. And that's what I love about him. All right, so coming in at number 3, we have Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Now, this one could have been right up there at number 1 on this list had Universal not screwed this thing up by, you know, making Bela Lugosi not able to talk anymore, even though he recorded all of his dialogue. Because this is not the Frankenstein monster that we saw in the previous films before that. This is the ghost of Frankenstein. Out comes Frankenstein monster. He has the brain of Igor and the personality of Igor. So it was perfect to have Lugosi play him, but he doesn't get a chance to actually bring out any of the Igor stuff in his Frankenstein monster because they cut all of his lines. And that just hurts this film. Now, as I said in the previous one, Lon Chaney Jr. is still excellent playing Larry Talbot in this. Very well done by him in this. Coming in at number 2, we have Werewolf of London. Henry Hull as the werewolf in this is not a very likable werewolf. He's completely unlike Larry Talbot. But the makeup on him is exceptional. The story is almost more like a variation on Jekyll and Hyde. But I absolutely adore this film still. I think it's one of the best werewolf films, other than another one that I'm about to get to, from this classic era. So, without further ado, let's get to my number 1 on this list, and I think all of you know which one I'm going to on this one, and that is The Wolfman. Now, this introduced Lon Chaney Jr. as Larry Talbot, and having Claude Rains as his father in here. Excellent, excellent performance by Claude Rains, as always. And him with Lon Chaney Jr. is just awesome. And then having the lovely Evelyn Ankers as the love interest is just perfect. So that is why The Wolfman makes my number 1 on this list. Anyway, what do you guys think of the Universal Monsters werewolf movies? Would you rank them the same way I did? Would you rank them differently? Let me know in those comments down below. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you have access to an area on the channel right now where you can request a movie, TV series, or ranking video of your choosing. And when that video goes up, it will go up for all Plus members to view prior to it going up for all other subscribers on the schedule. So if you want to get interactive and help us to get even more films on here that I might not review normally, become a Plus member. And if you missed last week's ranking video, check out the link above. And if you missed any of our other ranking videos, check out this playlist and get caught up.